Hello, good evening, happy Thursday on a Tuesday. It is the DisFluencers podcast live. I'm Dave. Welcome in. Hello again. Happy Tuesday. Yes, a special episode with a special guest. Excited for this one. To get to speak to our friend Piano Rob. You will know Rob from everywhere on Disney property that has a piano. I don't know if that's true, but we're just going to go with that for now. Boathouse, brunch, and Friday and Saturday evenings specifically. Now, let's get Rob in here. Rob, welcome in, man. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for joining us on the DisFluencers podcast here. Are you having a lovely time in Florida with it being 1,000,000 degrees plus one, allegedly?
The way people hate their winter probably is the way I feel about now here.
Dude, it's one of those where, you know, as Disney fans, nerds, whatever you want to say, we're all like, I'm going to move to Florida. But as a northerner, I'm like, there's three things that I don't like: humidity, alligators, and pythons, and Florida's got all of them. And
yeah, I mean, but do you like getting up? Like, you have to go outside 15 minutes earlier in the winter to start your car, so it's warm enough to drive. Like, I don't like that.
And brush it off and shovel snow. And yeah, that's what my dad winters in Florida, and he says, well, at least you don't have to shovel rain. I'm like, it's fair.
That's true.
Fair point, man. But welcome in. Appreciate you joining us. So Rob, we have an interesting story. If you recall, I don't know if you do, and this is pre-pandemic. It was back in the Jelly Rolls days.
Okay.
It was Galaxy's Edge weekend, opening weekend.
Wow.
You were playing on a Saturday night, and it was absolutely insanely empty. It might have been a Friday night. It was completely not Jelly Rolls-esque. And myself and the rest of the Dis and That crew roll in, and you guys were playing. And not long ago, probably 18 months, I posted a video of that night of you playing at Jelly Rolls, and it was like, oh man. Do you remember this at all?
No, I don't. Not specifically.
Do you remember the Instagram post?
No, not specifically. I don't. That's right now. Yeah. Now I wish you would have told me beforehand. I should have. But no, and man. It might be one of those things I look at and go, oh yeah, or it might be sometimes they all blur together.
I'm sure, man.
Almost a decade of ridiculousness there.
I'm sure, but at that moment, we didn't hang out. We didn't talk. But you were there, and we posted the video, and everyone's like, hey, that's Rob. So that is when I first learned of Piano Rob.
That's funny. I didn't even realize that it was so.
Yeah,
that it was that.
Dude,
then.
It was
wow.
World's been nuts since then. But yeah. So since then, you've, for lack of a better term, struck out on your own.
Yeah.
Still playing on Disney property. And the question is so what brought you to Disney? I mean, obviously the piano thing, I'm assuming, is a lifelong study, correct?
Yes, that's not what brought me here, though, believe it or not.
So what brought you to Florida?
I did a college program.
You were CP?
Yeah.
And then you never left?
And I never left. I applied for two programs. I got in, but the first one I applied was the beginning of my senior year, and I would have had to delay my graduation if I went in that semester, that spring semester,
right.
Which seemed kind of silly because different classes are only available different times a year. And I did have a scholarship, which I would have had to forego, which made no sense. So
that's weird.
That's their rules. You have to keep it straight or they take it away from you. It was St. John's in Staten Island campus up there.
Right.
So I had one of my friends applied with me the first time. He stayed here and did it. So I applied during my senior year. You just have to be in college when you apply.
Got it.
So you can apply, graduate, and still do a college program, which is what I did. And at that point, I was like, I followed all the rules. I did school straight through. I did everything I was supposed to do in life. I'm like, if anything, I take a 4-month vacation in my favorite place. I was already a Disney head.
Right.
And then I'll come back and start the real world, which I don't want to enter.
And
so then, so my program started in August. I got one of my dream CP jobs that I wanted. I got to give the backlot tour at Disney MGM Studios.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that's what I did. That was my CP job.
What year was this?
2005. August 2005, I started.
That's crazy.
And I actually stayed on in some type of part-time or seasonal role all the way to 2009 at the backlot.
Really? And then did it close in 9?
I think I was out before it closed. They changed how much you had to work to remain seasonal.
Got it.
It used to be one shift every 6 months, and then it became 40 hours a year, or maybe it was like 120 hours a year. I forgot what it was. It was something crazy, but it was a lot to do if you had another full-time job.
Right. Yeah, 40 hours. So 120 would be 30 hours a quarter, right?
I forgot which one it was. Whatever it was too much for me to keep up with.
Yeah, that's crazy. So did you study music in school?
No, my grandmother taught me piano when I was young. She was a piano teacher.
That's cool.
And then I did in the lower levels. Elementary school, I started the woodwinds, clarinet, bass clarinet. By middle school, I picked up tenor saxophone. Don't play any of these anymore, by the way.
Sweet.
High school, I did no band. I just took some guitar lessons.
Right.
And so music was always in my life and my family, but I didn't go to school for it.
Got it. But you stuck with piano, right? It's throughout. I mean, it's so you had lessons early, and then piano's not like guitar. I am a person that dabbles in guitar. I'm okay at guitar. I don't know if I could be okay at piano. I get the theory, but I don't think I could. So you every time I've seen you perform, you impress the heck out of me. So I didn't know. To me, in my head, I'm like, yes, you studied this, and then you came to Florida, and it's just your love, I guess.
No, I'm still getting better now. Like when because my first full-time piano job was Howl at the Moon. When I think of how I was there compared to how much better I had to get by Jelly Roll's time, because they just had a different standard of skill at that time. Right. Then to get even to where I am now, it's still a battle. Like there's still so many. There's so many better piano players than me. You're always getting better.
Right. And that's anything with music though. I mean, I think it's a lot more visible, I guess, right? Like if you're only okay at guitar and you go try to play a gig that you shouldn't be playing, then people know, right?
You know what? I'm going to tell you what, you would be surprised what people don't know, which is why I think we can have a lot of fun talking about this stuff, actually.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Like Grayson on Casey's Corner, anybody who's ever seen Grayson play piano. Yeah. The speed that kid has and his ragtime skills, that is another language to me. Right. Now that doesn't mean he's very young. The last time I talked to him, he wasn't even 21 yet, so he had never even been in a piano bar of any kind yet. But I have no idea how many songs he knows, if he can sing, what his personality on that type of stage would be like. Like there's different things that go into each thing. But as far as just playing, I'm picking him over me every time. Like the guy just flies through that. It's a different level of skill for that type of piano.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna point that out. You kind of said it. I mean, it has to be a different animal, right? A, you have to be able to play and sing. B, you have to be able to entertain on top of that and put it all together with another human, right? Like that's a whole other skill set. I mean, so did you get into anything on stage as well? Were you in the like high school musicals growing up and all of that, or
They had us do. There was a certain level in elementary school that they made you do, but that
Mhm.
that was really it. I never. And again, I never say this in a blame way. I think a lot
Yeah,
you are what you're exposed to. I don't feel like my parents were artsy people. They've supported
right.
everything I wanted to do, but they
Yeah,
were more, my mother's a nurse. My dad did like all types of phlebotomy and blood work on people.
yeah,
Like my family's medical people. So
cool.
they're professional. My sister's a veterinarian. You go to school, you become a doctor. So at the time, actually, that was a funny call when my college program was ending. My mother thinks I might be coming home. And I'm
Right.
like, I'm going to stay in this bar and play music, for drunk people.
And that was
I'm,
Hal at that point?
that was how I'm like, they're going to give me health insurance. It's okay.
Right. And this was when dueling pianos was massive, right? Like Hal was everywhere in the early 2000s.
At that point, I would say that, I mean, I don't even know how many they have now. I think that was the pinnacle because everybody didn't always have a camera in their pocket yet.
Right.
That's what changed. Smartphones changed life in many ways, and I watched it from the stage.
Really? How?
Well, because when I started doing pianos, short of maybe sending a text, if you were there, you were there.
Got it.
You didn't keep in touch with everybody. Even Facebook, at best, I don't even think the mini feed was on Facebook yet. Like if you wanted to see what somebody posted, you had to decide to go to their page. So people were living in the moment more. They were there. They were there. I mean, this is a fan-friendly podcast, but there were some not Disney things that would occur in that room because people didn't have their cameras out. So in many ways, I think that changed the world for the worse. Everybody's always getting recorded. Everybody's, what's my friend doing? What if I'm missing something else? It wasn't just we were all experiencing that same moment live.
Right. Yeah, I never even thought about it that way. That makes a lot of sense from an entertainment standpoint. I mean, even if you go, look at the massive Taylor Swift concert this summer.
Mm-hmm.
How many people paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for tickets, and they're worried more about what they're going to snap, what they're going to put on Instagram, and what they're going to record so they can watch later instead of living in a moment?
Because they have to show what it's more important that, I say this to everybody, beware of who you're following on social media. Right. What you see isn't always the truth. And people are trying to sell things and put an image. I try to equally share when I'm struggling with something or the sad times, because that's more helpful to people than just bragging, look what I'm doing. And they, who knows how happy they are.
Yeah. I mean, people enjoy seeing cool things, right? Like, but you're exactly right. You never, you're a Gary Vee guy, aren't you?
I know enough about Gary Vee.
All right. Well, have you ever heard him say that for the longest time, the Instagram feed was sacred, where people wouldn't just put up random stuff? It was always curated as opposed to what their stories were, where they'll just put up anything in a story.
The picture had to be beautiful. The picture had to be aesthetically perfect.
Yep. Now I think Reels has blown that up a little bit. But what I've seen recently, and this is interesting, question to you. Have you noticed more people when they post their Reels, they actually upload a cover photo that then goes into their feed?
You know what's funny? I have noticed that. And personally, I don't like it. I don't do it ever. I don't think I've ever done it.
I don't either. I was wondering though, and this isn't anything you or I are going to answer, but I'm wondering if it's hitting the algorithm different. Because when all that new stuff comes out,
Interesting.
They then push that to hopefully have people go and see. And it's been a lot of people that I know where Instagram is their number one and has always been their number one that are doing it now. So again, who knows?
That's interesting. Now you got me wanting to try. Although I have found a lot of that doesn't matter for me.
Right.
Oh, and I know a lot. I know a lot of it's hit or miss. I've done the trending sounds and that stuff too. Like you'll go onto my page and say, I like to put up something more creative and original.
Right.
But I also find that doesn't always hit well, because unless you have a bunch of people that when the first couple views they show, if those people aren't like, this is great, I'm going to share it,
Right.
it gets swallowed. Like right now, when Maleficent went on fire in Disneyland, I did like a me playing along to Phantasmic thing.
Yeah.
That one I still get likes and views on every day, and it's a couple of months now for whatever reason. That one's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
No, that's it.
Yeah. No, it's you're right though. I mean, I will not say that I don't jump on the trends. I enjoy it. If I find a trending sound on TikTok that I thoroughly enjoy, I will do something with it. Right. But I feel that I can do that in a creative way. But you're right. If you put out something organic, right? Something that you did, it takes a lot for it to get legs. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
But nobody can copy it, because I'll tell you, me and Allie discuss this all the time at home. She gets more mad than me, let's say. But if I do something that's not piano related, and same thing for her, with almost whatever she pushed, we will see certain bigger accounts copy our idea, sometimes verbatim. Right. And I know it's people that are friends with us and whatever else, and they will copy it verbatim and get hundreds of thousands, million views, because they have a bigger audience. So that's where I kind of got to the point. Like, I love making the Disney parody songs when somebody does something stupid in the park. It's one of my favorite things to do. And but I also think, like, copy that, you sons of stitches. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, you're not going to you can't do that. So that's
you need to be the Weird Al Yankovic of Disney. Wow, why can't I think of where'd the word go? Holy heck.
Shenanigans?
Yes, whatever. Dude. But a lot of that has to come from quick wit on stage, right?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I've never done an improv comedy class. I would love to. It's actually been something we've talked about. But I feel like dueling pianos is constant improv comedy, especially like at this point, I don't feel like I'm in the bars as much. But once you have that muscle, WDW News Tonight on Thursdays has really helped that muscle too. Like, you have to be quick, and it is something I pride myself on. I like having something in the moment that you're not going to think of, and it hits. That's the best feeling.
Right. So with that, going back to Jelly Rolls or Howl or wherever, right? A dueling piano, a classic bar dueling piano scene, right? You guys have bits for that, but the one component that is always different is the crowd.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When you first started getting into that, I guess you said you never took a class. What muscle did you rely on, right? Because that had to have gotten better over time, dealing with the crowd, right?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It's like anything else. Anything you do, you're going to get better the more time you do it. And if you're not good at something, I'm a big fan of, you're not good at it yet. If you want to get good at it, you're going to get good at it. I did get raised in a very loud family. Like, my mom is one of 10 kids. My dad was one of 4, but had a big extended family. Yeah. It was a lot of teasing, a lot of you had to be quick. Like, a lot of it's survival mode, but it also it came in very handy. Like, the talking part of it, like what we're doing, this is easy. I will talk all day, and if people enjoy listening, I'll that's never been a problem.
Right. That's fantastic. So do you miss that dueling piano atmosphere?
To be very honest, no, not nearly as much as I thought I would.
Cool.
I don't. The hours were late.
Oh yeah.
It's a very grueling show. Like, I remember when we first started. Luckily, you get to work with a lot of celebrities on and off in my line of work doing What Happens. Mm-hmm. My first experiences, though, really, Joey Fatone's family charity would always do an event at Howl at the Moon.
Okay.
And when we first started doing it, and like he was there, Debbie Gibson, Alfonso Ribeiro from the Fresh Prince, like a couple of guys, like these people all thought we were nuts. That we're doing what we do for so many hours, 7 nights a week, and sometimes, I mean, there was dueling piano schedules where I would do 21 days in a row.
Jeez.
Because somebody was sick, somebody's on vacation, but who knows what happens, and you kind of learn survival. And these people are like, they'll do a show, they get a minimum of 2 nights off between their 45 minutes that they might have sang.
Yeah.
And they're singing songs that are all in the keys that they sing, whereas we're singing every artist under the sun, trying to emulate that artist.
Yeah.
So they used to think we were nuts. So now there's some weeks I don't do I'm working as many hours because I have to do more stuff at home and other stuff. There's other things now because I'm totally managing myself, basically. But I'm not singing as many physical hours in the bar, and my hours aren't as weird. So it's to be home with the kids, other stuff. That's been so much better.
Right. When you had those stints, how'd you take care of your voice?
I would not use it. There was times that like especially when I was totally single doing this gig, there was times I'm not uttering a word till 5:30 in the afternoon. I didn't say anything. There's certain, I say away from any acidy foods, tomatoes, anything that's going to cause your reflux, milky, creamy, any lactose things, ice cream.
Right.
Not all the time, but on singing days, if I knew I had something big going on, you have to.
Got to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. That's it's unfathomable. That's crazy,
I mean,
though.
you do. I mean, listen, I was always happy though, because we all have bad days at work, whatever. But for me, it blows my mind that I'm playing piano, pretty much surviving, making a living. Like that's crazy to me. Like I thought I was going to be in an office. That's what most people. That's what I grew up around. That's what you do. So to me, do this. This is amazing. This is great.
Yeah, you've been putting more content out around choosing your life path. In the last several months. Did anything spark that specifically, or is it kind of just wanting to share your philosophies now?
It's a lot of things. One, I don't like to give advice because I don't know why I should be giving advice, but there are a lot of people that approach me, they'll ask me a little question about stuff, and I see so many people that are unhappy with their day by day, and I'm sitting there like, you don't have to be like one, you have to be willing to make a change. Like, I don't know, it's really those are the kinds of the things that sparked it. It's like, if I leave every place better than I found it, that's kind of what I want to do. Like make your bubble good. If everybody has that mentality, I feel like the world would be better.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Agreed. I agree 100%.
So it's kind of just stemming from that. Or I'll see somebody give really bad advice, and I'm like, who the hell is this person giving this is terrible advice? And again, like I even think of like my parents are phenomenal. They live freaking around the corner now. They moved down during the pandemic from New York. I love them. They absolutely did the best they could. They guided me the best they could. And I think there were some things that like they just didn't know, that if I can pass that now to my kids and other people because I know it, it's like I kind of want to do that. The world is bigger now. We don't have to fall into that same, confines that my generation was taught.
Yeah. Well, and we're in the same boat, right? Like, I mean, we were the tail end, but that's probably a bad way to say it. We're the tail end, but right in the middle of it, if you go to college, you'll get a good job.
Yes.
And your company will take care of you and you'll work for them for 40 years. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Not how it goes.
And that right there is why I want to give advice, because anybody being told that, if I can get them to not waste years that they were going to because they felt they had to versus what they wanted to do. If I change, I'm glad I shared it. If one person did what they was right for them because of that.
Exactly. And to be honest, man, you said you don't like to give advice, but those are always the people that should be giving advice, is when you're not trying to push it out there, but you have thoughts and opinions. I feel you on that 100%. Don't get me wrong. I talk a lot. and I rant a lot, and I probably give more advice than I should, but you know, whatever. Take all with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. No, I admire that you're doing that. It takes a lot to put yourself out there like that. So I wanted to know if something stemmed that or if it was just
No,
something to do.
and I'm going to be honest, I stopped not caring about negative things.
Right.
Like it doesn't, if it's not for you, if you don't like my music or you don't like me being at Disney, you don't have to look at it. Like, and I feel like that for everybody. As long as you're not hurting somebody, do whatever you want. Like, do whatever you want to do if it makes you happy.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you said it. We'd all get along a lot better if we realized that, you know, you can do what you want to do, and like you said, as long as you're not hurting someone, it doesn't matter. I'm a big live and let live person as well. So.
I agree, and be prepared to work. Like, everybody has something they're passionate about.
Yep.
You know, like find what that thing is to you. Work hard at it. I'm sure you're going to be fine. It is, because if you have passion, you're gonna work hard at it. I would think. If you don't, then there's something. That's another story.
You're 100% right. I mean, you know, how many times have you run into someone who's like, like you get the whole what's the shortcut to this?
Yeah,
and there is no shortcut. You know, you look at some of the biggest, and we just stick with Disney influencers. Let's not even talk about someone like Mr. Beast, who put the first 15 years of his life into learning how to do YouTube.
Yes,
just in general.
Crazy.
It's insane.
He's
you
amazing.
Oh my God! Did you listen to the Rogan?
No, I haven't listened to the Rogan. The kids love Mr. Beast.
Yeah,
they
right.
love him. So naturally, I started doing it. And then what really impressed me is I'm like, this guy's doing some really good things, which is what really impressed me. It's not just like, because how many of these YouTube things do the kids watch where it's just whoa, and the guys are yelling at each other and it's nothing of value. He's to take what he's doing and use it for the good ways he's doing it. All the people, the blindness cure, that got me. That was amazing.
That's huge. He has a food pantry. All of his, like,
we got the chocolate.
Did you? Nice.
It's
got
delicious.
The chocolate. Yeah. There's just so many awesome things that he does. I could talk. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to the Rogan one.
Okay.
It's so good. It's 3 hours of him just talking through all that stuff. So,
but I'll
put it on your list.
But I'll tell you what, on shortcuts, because I like to. I find TikTok probably shows me this stuff, because if it is a celebrity that I do admire and they're giving good advice, I get a lot of these like celebrities talking to each other, and one was some type of round table, and Steve Martin was there, right. and I forgot who was interviewing him. It was somebody I knew, but it was what. You know, people ask him all the time, what do you do to, you know, make it in show business, really do it? And he goes, all the time, they think that I'm going to hand them out like, well, you get an agent, you do this, and it's a checklist. And his advice always is, he goes, do something that they can't ignore.
Yep.
And I always like, because that's really what the truth is. Like, there is no, you don't enter some lottery and get it. Like, at the end of the day, you got to put yourself out there, and you just have to do it. And if you're really that good at whatever that thing is, you're probably going to get there. You know, or you're picking the wrong thing. Or you're trying to do it. I mean, you know, in this community, how many people shouldn't be influencers or content creators that do it because they think it's a way to make money, or they think it's going to be something else, and it's not what it is. And then you see the people who are really devoted to it, that are spending their well, this is their craft, and there's just a different level when you see those people.
Yep, it's a different level of commitment. You can just tell. It doesn't matter if you're in this game or not. You can tell when someone is committed, when it is what they want to do, right? When here, Disney is their passion, right? And the people that have risen up above have put the work in, day out, stayed consistent, and gotten better at their craft. You said it earlier. When you continue to do things, you'll end up getting better. You just need to dig in. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. None. But buying subscribers, and I mean the real seedy stuff that you can do, and then there's just okay, I'm going to make 10 shorts and one of them has to hit and it's going to hit 15 million. It's like, that's never going to happen.
And listen, I've been guilty of that too. There were times where you were kind of, it was like, try it this way. This is the game to get it. And I've done a couple of those things. They never worked as well for me. I mean, maybe that's just because, that's somebody else just giving advice. How many other people did they give advice? And that's what's getting their channel good. How do I know if it's right for me?
But is it really getting their channel?
Yeah. Or did they buy subscribri or whatever?
That wasn't even where I was going with it. It was just, there's a lot of people that would give advice in this community. And this is where I have always prided myself in at least like looking into different strategies. Right. And like you said, I've tried some really stupid strategies.
Yeah.
But you didn't say stupid, but I know what you're getting at. Like done okay, so that sounds like a great one, and we're gonna try it, and then you try it, and you're like, yeah, I think I just wasted a week and a half trying to do it this way, and it's not working.
Oh, and that's another thing too, is not putting too much time. Like at some point I was like, I'm not getting the results I want, and I'm putting way too much time. And then you see somebody that just like does a video in their room where they literally just recorded it for 3 seconds and 15 million views. Like it just, that happens.
It is crazy. Even comparatively things that I have put, and you kind of touched on this, right? Like you put some real creative thought into something. You try to just not jump on a trend or say, all right, I'm gonna just post whatever. And you dive into it and you put the extra time into it and it doesn't hit. And then you take a video that you have of Mickey's Not So Scary Runaway Railway, or whatever they officially call the great movie right now.
So scary runaway. You're right.
And I'll put it up and it'll get like 8,000 views compared to the 300 that I got on this thing that I thought was brilliant, because all of my ideas are brilliant.
Because this is where it gets. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah.
People love Disney, so there's so many people who it's not about the person. There's other people that just stop because somebody put up something from Disney, and that became a rough thing for me, because I'm not going to come up with some crazy Disney handle and my channel's about me. It's not who I am. Like I've gone to the parks and I've live streamed some things. These people that do it for 16 hours a day, they love it. Like the ones that I know. I got the guy who made the Piano Rob shirts, Kirk from Walrus Carp. I love Kirk.
Right.
He is live on TikTok.
Fantastic, dude.
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
And he loves it. Like he is in the park sweating day in and day out, showing people what they want to see. That's not me. Like Rob's not going to be your guy to wake up at 5 a.m. and get there for rope drop. And it's not me. But and so why am I going to try to do that? Like that's a guy who, you want to talk about passion. He's 100%. Doing it.
100%. Yep. Yeah. No. It's fantastic. I mean, live streaming is a whole other ball game.
But it's all under it. Like if you have an umbrella that's covering, and that's why, like I said, you got to find what you're passionate about.
Yep. It's I mean, it's all under that creator umbrella. It's funny because people will be. I mean, we're good friends with Josh and Jenna from Resort TV 1, and like Steve and Corey, like the live streaming, a lot of live streamers, right? And it takes a lot to do that well, to be able to walk through a park, talk to a chat, keep it entertaining. It takes a lot, man. But it's a different breed than like what you were saying, right? Like you're going to come up with content.
Well, and you know what? Let's, for fun, like here's some things that I put out there that never hit. I had a video of the end of Fantasmic where Mickey's conducting up on the mountain.
Right.
So I put up a green screen in the video, and it took me a while to get it. I got it to the point where I can play the whole end while he's doing it. And like I'm playing it live, like going to see one of those live orchestra concerts. And I've tried this video, I think 3 different times. And it's like it's not that it does bad, but nobody really cares. I'm like, and even me, I'm like, I don't want to sound egotistical. I'm like, nobody's impressed by this. Like, this
Right,
is like,
right.
what are you watching my other stuff? Like, this is freaking awesome right here.
Right.
Like, this is, like I did the whole thing, and nobody. I did that at some imagination, huh? And nobody cares. But it's just funny because like that's where I think something's really creative. Nowhere.
Yeah. So then you dive into the like, well, how long was the video? Was it 27 seconds long?
Yes.
And it should have only been 23. And if it was 23, would the algorithm would have pushed it out? If I would have hashtagged it differently, would it get put? Like, that's where you can drive yourself nuts.
You will.
100%.
I have.
100%.
Yeah. Or like, should I just have written some extra? Like, I hated when it was write a long freaking story on your 6-second video. So it takes people 3 times through to read your whole story. And it's getting views because people are reading.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, don't worry. I did it. I did
it too.
I had a few TikToks that hit for like 85 or 90K because of that. And then it just took off in the algorithm.
Yeah.
If you did it with Star Wars, though, I think it would take off for you. Just so you know. I mean, Star Wars does well.
You never. But then I also got to a point. It's like if I get all these followers, I want them to. I want people to follow me that want to be in my circle. I don't want it to I follow that person. You follow this person. Like I hope that people enjoy it and get something out of it. I mean, that's what it should be about.
Yeah, and it's always it's one of those where. So here you go. If you want something on Instagram to hit, and this is a couple years ago, but if you wanted something on Instagram to hit, all you had to do was use a sappy sounding song and put the castle.
Yes, there. I've done it.
I've done it, and it hit for 900,000 views on Instagram.
Okay.
So it's like, now what kind of content are they expecting? That's the real question.
Yes.
So you have this happen, and then it's like, okay, well, do I continue to make the same content just to do that? Or do you stay true to yourself, which is what you really want to do, which is what everyone should do?
Yeah.
And
sometimes you don't get a ton of followers necessarily.
Yeah.
Like my best Instagram one, I think is like 15 million views.
That's huge. Right.
It is. It doesn't get me anything, but
Not anymore.
It was Space Mountain with the lights on and that sound of Mickey Mouse going, "Oh no, the ride's broken." Like that's it.
That's like, a great Mickey Mouse, by the way.
Oh, that
was pretty good.
Well,
go for it.
But that was it. That was for whatever reason that one. And I had one. It was when Indiana Jones was getting run over by the ball from the stunt show,
right?
And it was like an announcer saying, he says a bad word, and that's why it went whatever, and it fit. But for whatever reason, random things like that take off. And sometimes the more impressive stuff that takes skill doesn't. But that's the name of the game, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's also the kind of content that you're creating. When you're creating short form content, people are flipping through every 6 or 7 seconds. Even if you do something that is extremely entertaining for the 18 seconds of the video, for it to get 100% play when it comes to analytics, it's crazy. When it gets that long, it's really tough to get people to watch the entire thing. When it comes to short form, when it comes to longer form, it's a different mindset. And this is where the YouTube thing is interesting, because if you create both long form content and short form content, we don't know what the crossover is yet, because YouTube doesn't know what the crossover is yet.
That's interesting too.
So it's a lot of people that are doing shorts originally just to drive people to their channel, and hopefully they would watch long form content, or they would put, hey, if you want to see the rest of this, go watch the full video on the YouTube page.
Yes, I've seen a lot of that too. Yeah.
But that doesn't translate. Like the thought process behind it right now, and the only reason I can say this is because YouTube said it with any certainty, is that when you're creating for shorts, people are on their phone, mindset, whatever. They don't want to click through to anything.
Yeah.
When it's long form, it's long form.
And people have and people have too many different things to go to. Like now when Instagram started Threads this week, I'm like, it's just another app that people are going to split their time between. You can't, there's no more time in the day. It's just, where am I going to allocate it?
Right. And that's, are you on Threads now? You playing around with it at all?
I got on Threads immediately only because if they started paying for content again, the way Instagram did with Reels or Facebook, or even the way people did well on TikTok, I didn't want to be behind the 8 ball because I missed the last couple. So I'm like, let me just sign up and get on there just in case all of a sudden they start doing something. I haven't seen anything major out of Threads. I don't see it. I don't see why it would go anywhere. I also almost hate that they allow pictures and video on it, because if you're giving me something for writing, give me something for writing. Once people start putting their pictures, it's the same as me going to their Instagram page.
No, exactly. And they're posting the same thing on both. And there's some semblance of a crossover, which I'm kind of in the same ballpark. When it opened, that first 24 hours, it was like the Wild West, man. And the funny part is like, you realize that you're porting over your Instagram followers. If they clicked follow whoever I was following, you're porting that over. So they know you. They've spoken to you, right?
Which was helpful.
100%. And that's a whole other conversation. But people were like, what's your favorite Disney park? It's like, is this what we're going back to now? Is this how this is going to be?
Because they just want the followers. Listen, like I said,
they wanted the interactions.
They wanted the interactions. I'm guilty of it. I did it too, because I'm just like, let me just put some stuff out here in the first couple of days, just in case.
Yep. And it's interesting. The one that kind of makes me smile, and we all know this, that it's not going to stay this way, but people are trying to keep Threads the friendly app. Like, let's make it the I don't want to say PG-13 version or whatever. Let's keep the trolls out kind of deal. The trolls will find you.
They're already there.
What. They're already there.
It's already started. I mean, there's no and what does that mean anyway? Like it's like having the friend who says they don't like drama, but that somehow is the friend who's always in the drama. You know, it's
always
like,
in the middle of it. Yep, you're 100% right.
It just is what it is. I think it's hard because everybody's trying to find their way. You're always trying to stay relevant and somewhat in the eye. Like, especially for me, like I said, all my bookings come from either other agents or people calling me because they need me, or it's kind of directly through me now. So I have to have a presence, or else I got to pay for God knows, like marketing. Where else? Where would I even pay for marketing anywhere?
No, anymore. Who knows? I do. Yeah. No, it's it's what I think could be the most interesting thing that comes out of this is the fact that if Instagram somehow takes market share from Twitter, like actual tweets, like people. Like you see more people using Threads than Twitter. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. But if they can actually do that, what precedent they are stating is that not only can you just steal other people's ideas, right? Like TikTok comes out, does short form content. Then you have Reels, you have Shorts. You now have Reels on Facebook. You have it on everything. You have that, but it's part of the native app, right?
Yes.
What's really interesting is now, if this works, you're going to have the likes of YouTube attempt to bring in some semblance of text-based app.
Yes.
You're going to have everyone do it if they see that, which I see as a double-edged sword, but I also see, you're saying, there's only so much time in the day. The issue for the last 8 years or so, whatever, going back to the multiple, maybe not that long, but the where everyone was on multiple social medias. The point of YouTube's end of the video feed, the click what's next, is to keep you on YouTube.
Yes.
The point of TikTok, just scrolling, to keep you on TikTok. No one wanted you to put links to go to another social media platform.
Yes.
If this seems to work and everyone sees this building out, you're going to have people that are on YouTube that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Now having the opportunity to have inside of the YouTube ecosystem everything that they needed to put out on all of these other platforms, and the attempt won't necessarily be to keep you on YouTube, it will be to keep you inside of the alphabet, because that's what it would end up being, the alphabet ecosystem, which could be 5 different YouTube apps that are all under your YouTube channel.
But so I'll talk about, this is interesting for me in the music world. But think of how often, if you went to a piano bar, you went to a piano bar. If you went to a bowling alley, you went to a bowling alley. Mm-hmm. If you went to an arcade, you went to an arcade. Now, how many entertainment complexes do you see where you walk in and they have a bowling alley, they have a laser tag, they have a dueling piano night? Because everybody is trying to, the greed has gotten to a point where everybody wants everybody's business all the time. Right. Well, it doesn't work. This is silly. We're just making this big divide. The middle class keeps getting smaller. You have super rich, super poor. That's where we're going. Nobody's trying to change it. And the only way it stops is if the consumers stop it. But well, let's be honest. The consumers are never going to stop it. I mean, we're watching it now with the writer strike, and you see movie theaters are oversaturated. Right. The Flash was the biggest flop in superhero movie history. Green Lantern is 10th on that list. There's 9 superhero movies worse than Green Lantern.
It's insane.
Michael Keaton was in this Flash movie.
Right.
And it's the worst superhero movie. We're oversaturating the market. We're doing there's something wrong.
Well, you heard Iger say that, correct?
No, I didn't. Article? I didn't know he said that.
It was
us Bobs think alike.
Yeah, right. It was in corporate speak, but it was in reference to Marvel and in reference to Star Wars, where it's twofold, right? It's, we need to cut cost, but we also are making it so that there's too much. It's oversaturation. And they're gonna cut back.
They have to. They're not making the bottom line, and that's where it gets scary too. Everything's about making these bottom lines. It's not about. It's not the old. And I'm not just talking about Disney, but it's life. Right. But, I love Walt Disney, the man. I think a lot of us probably do. We know our history that are involved in this. He knew to put the effort into quality, because that's going to lead to longevity. It's not about making all the money right now. But let's face it, that's what Disney did it when it's like, get your 3-year subscription to Disney Plus, buy your vacations for 50 years. Everybody wants everybody's money up front without the content. And then they can't deliver on that promise because too much changes.
Yep. This is.
I know we're in deep now.
This is one that's close. It's all good, man. This one's close to me because I'm very concerned about the next CEO. And my biggest gripe with Disney, the reason I went to Disney as a father, right? The reason we keep going back, and what I always told people who were always like, "You're going to Disney again?" We all get that question.
Of course.
Here's why. I know what I'm getting. I know that when I fork out the thousands of dollars that it is to stay on property because I want to, that I am going to get top-notch service. I am not going to get nickeled and dimed. I am going to go to a place where everything is taken care of already and it's paid for. And now they have ruined that. And they started it with parking back in 2018. And you should have heard the rant I went on about that. Yeah. Disney has been the leader. They have decided to regress to the mean because other people can get it. When Universal charged for their what do they call it?
Express.
Yeah, the Express Pass. And Disney saw that and they said, "Oh, we can do that." They started doing research as to whether or not they could do it. Genie Plus was not a 2019 idea. Genie Plus was out there on like surveys in 2017.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
would you pay for this?
Quick.
Yeah. So this is where I'm with you on this, is make the content. Make something that I want to go to and don't nickel and dime me. If they just increased their ticket prices and changed it to Genie Plus, I wouldn't have cared because I'm paying for it up front.
Yes.
Just how I roll. I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, well, for me, I think the biggest thing that upsets people in any aspect is when you used to get something and now
Right.
it's taken away. So not only are you paying more or doing whatever, like I'm watching my prices go up, but I'm getting less. And let me tell you something, even in like my business, like again, it's like I see it with piano players. We're still fighting for bar shows. It's a big reason I don't do as many for the same price that we were making that they were 20 years ago.
Right.
And there's always some new young kid that's going to undercut it. They're not going to be as good. They're not going to, if they're that good, they're not doing it for that cheap. Like you can go out there now and get a dueling piano show for a corporate event for maybe $800 to $1,000. My company's probably not going to do it for under $2,500 because there's a different level. I don't want the guy who does it as a side job playing my wedding and he's doing whatever. I want the professional. Like there's a different level. But that's the other problem. It's this value what's worth paying for, what's worth a job for payment. It's relative to every person, and that's where it gets weird. If somebody's willing to pay for it, Disney or any big company puts it out there because hey, if we can make this money, we're going to make this money. That seems to be the mentality.
Well, I mean, Star Cruiser's the biggest example of this, right?
Oh my God, we've talked about this, especially at WW News Tonight. We've talked about it ad nauseum, and it's like it did exactly what I basically said what was going to happen. Not to pat myself in the back. From the second they announced it, I was like, this does not make any logical sense to me. And to take this a step further, you already doomed it when you made a clone of Galaxy's Edge on both coasts. Give me a reason to go to both coasts. You should have put Star Wars on ours and gave them Marvel, and give me the reason to go to both. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I never really thought of it that way in regards to Star Cruiser. I thought Star Cruiser was a brilliant idea.
It is a great idea. It's the execution. The cast was great. Everything's great.
Yeah. I think, and I said this for a while, and I still think I'm going to end up being right on this one. But I think Disney wants to. I don't think we're going to see a fifth park ever. I think Disney wants to start dropping these cruise-esque experiences throughout the country. I think that they have the capacity to, and hear me out on this one, or we can move on. Doesn't matter. But I think that they could easily put a Great Wolf Lodge-esque type of complex where you have a Marvel hotel, a Star Wars hotel, and a Princess hotel, all totally immersive, all very similar to you're on a cruise. So everything is, you have a schedule, you have all of this. I think that there would be a market for that. I don't think there's a market for that at $2,400 a person.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And I think that if it's not at that level, I don't think it's worth it for them. And that's where it gets weird. And not to mention, like what you just said, part of me loves that idea. But if I live in, pick a state, Missouri, and I have a Disney experience not too far from me, maybe now I'm shooting myself in the foot for my other parks because now people don't to scratch that Disney itch. They don't have to come to Disney World or Disneyland. They're going to drive 4 hours, maybe.
Well, I'm with you on that. My whole thought on that is you don't make it as expensive and you don't make it as elaborate as you do the parks. I think that if they look at marketing it as a weekend getaway type deal or weekday or whatever, people will take those 2 or 3 days off and go on a short trip close to them. You're from the Northeast, how many times could you or friends that you knew or whatever would say, hey, we just took a weekend trip down to
Atlantic
City, Williamsburg, Virginia, Gettysburg, Hershey Park, right? Like all of those are within a 3 or 4 hour drive of New York City. Williamsburg's not, but But the points there is that people will do that for 3 or 4 days and then still do a 5-day Disney trip.
I think that weekdays would be quiet at places
I agree.
that if they're not. And I'm curious again then where we get to the price point, because to keep the Disney level that me and you want costs more money. I mean, I think about that with the writer's strike. I want everybody to make more money. I am on board. But we also have to be realistic, and we see this with minimum wage raise, everything else. Everybody that makes more money, we're all going to pay for it somewhere. Your subscription services are going to go up. It's going to be whatever. And that's where it's like, I hate to say like the system, but it does. The system's kind of broken in that sense, because if you want to pay good people to do something, well, then who's paying them? Well, the ticket prices are going to go up. And it's a cycle. It becomes this weird cycle of, and we could debate it all we want, but something's got to change in that range.
Yeah, 100. I'm with you on that. It's just, it's the whole adage, the consumer is going to end up paying for it.
Yeah. Another reason, by the way, Dave, that's why I love that I live here. Like, talk about how that became a positive life change for me. And I don't want to make anybody sad who's watching from not here, but the amount of money in a weird way that I save because I already live here. I'm not paying for flights. I'm not going for I get Florida discounts. Like, we just took our first real family vacation probably since the pandemic last week. We went to Hilton Head. But I didn't feel that need, like I had to get away as badly as other people, because I live here. I can drive and have a lot of different vacation experiences without putting the money on airfare or something else.
Right. And what all the parks there offer Florida discount-esque things, right? Like Universal has a Florida pass. Right, much like Disney.
So
does.
Universal, I don't know if there's one you get a discount. Like, so Universal Studios, I know it's probably some people in the chat might hate this. Universal Studios, the park, is my favorite place in the world.
Really?
That when I walk in, that is the best, especially if it's horror nights. But when I walk into that park, it is the happiest me you will ever see. That's awesome. We've had the preferred pass forever, which has gone up in price. I haven't done the Volcano Bay part yet, but it's over $400 now. But I think to renew it, it was like $386 or whatever it was. But for that price, I got the whole year, no blackout dates, free parking, which is so freaking huge. You can, but so it's not a Florida discount for that one, but I do get a renewable discount. Which, why am I ever going to lose that one? I love going there. I want to be there all the time.
Right. Yeah. So I haven't been to Universal since 2005.
Oh my goodness. I want to smack you.
No, you're telling me. That's a function of having young kids that, they're older now. So,
And again, that's the other plus of being here. Like, I can't tell you how many days we drop the kids off at school and I go and play in a theme park. Like, that's a normal thing where it's like, we'll get the Guardians boarding group in the morning, like drop the kids off at school. We're going to go ride Guardians before they're out of school. Like, that's, and I agree with you. Like, that does make it difficult.
It's one of those where, you're coming in from out of state. There's only so many days we can go. The budget is only so big. Now though, with them being older, and my daughter is a Potter fan. So I'm a Potter fan and haven't seen it. Love it. But this next trip, it might end up being on the front end of it. But dude, do you miss Jaws too?
I miss Jaws every time, and I know it's like it's Shark Week, and we love sharks.
Yeah.
I always miss it. I understand that ride took up such a huge section of the park.
Yeah.
But what a classic! I always actually tell people this too. If you are a real Jaws the ride fan, look up on YouTube Jaws the musical. You want to talk about a cool place? Universal used to give a thing where the team members from each attraction could make like their own creative video.
Okay.
So the team members of Jaws made their own Jaws the musical. I think the whole thing's like 10 minutes long. They made parody versions of famous Broadway songs. And as somebody who loved the ride, I just like there's a magic. When you see it as a theme park fan, it's just a magic. Like, that's what I want to see, the cast members having fun. It's such a classic ride. It's just freaking great.
Oh, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That's great.
You'll enjoy it.
See, my thing is that I always say that Amity Island was the initial immersive experience at any park.
Yeah, I could see you walk in there. You had the games. The whole island
Yeah.
was like that. That whole thing was themed to Jaws.
Yeah. It was, and it was like you were on a boardwalk somewhere. Like they did it. I mean, I was a kid at the time, don't get me wrong, but like they did it pretty okay. And then you had the ride. I always loved that part of the park. I'm with you, man. I enjoyed Universal as a kid. It was great. Islands of Adventure was kind of a mishmash of, hey, let's put a bunch of stuff there. Like I was always like a huge Jurassic Park fan, right? As I'm assuming you were as well. Like,
of course.
I was hoping that Islands of Adventure, the entire thing was Jurassic Park. Like, we need a real Jurassic Park without the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. The Velocicoaster that they've added now is probably the best flat out coaster in Orlando.
Really?
Easy, if not the state now. Yeah, it's great. It's just a great coaster.
That's awesome.
They've themed it well. That park is a little. It still always feels a little small. The walking's a little tight. It's just not as spacious. I know space was a problem. Let's be honest. They had to purchase the land over there.
Right. Yeah. No, it was. We always hit it up going down as a kid. I just haven't since. But yeah, it's definitely on the list, especially with Epic coming down the road here. Yeah. Cool. So what were we talking about? I don't even know.
We've been talking about everything.
I know, right? No. So you were saying the whole being in the thick of it has been a financial savings as compared to.
Yeah, and very simply, like this, I will give this advice because I think it's good. Live where you're the happiest. If you find you're vacationing to a place all the time and you're working your butt off 50 weeks out of the year because you can't wait to spend your 2 weeks in this one place, well, why don't you try to find out how to live in that place?
Yep, makes sense.
Like, I don't know, that's how I felt when I moved down here. It was just so that I never once, I mean, it's been since it's 18 years now. I've never once regretted it for a second.
Right. Yeah, that's one of those that eventually, man, hopefully we'll see. I don't know.
Well, no, and I know people have reasons. Maybe you have family members, that somebody's sick, you got a job, you're waiting for a pension. Like, I get it. Like, there's all things, but especially like for younger people, like if they are at that age, they're thinking about going to college or finishing college. If there's a bug you got that your gut's telling you to try something, try it. What are you waiting for?
Well, what's really interesting to me is in the economy that we have, right, where a lot of stuff can be done remotely.
Yes.
Or if you're part of the gig economy, right, and you have your own design company or whatever, and it's not physical media, you can do your job from anywhere. It doesn't matter.
And I've seen a lot of people move for that. Yeah. Like we were visiting friends in Hilton Head that live there. They moved down from New Jersey. They can work remotely. And ironically, Hilton Head was that place I was telling you for them. They would vacation and they're very happy. So it's like, why aren't we here? And they're super happy they're there.
Yeah. Hilton Head's fantastic, man.
I had never been since last week. And it was, like I said, it was probably the best family vacation we've ever taken.
Right. It's a solid spot. We've been there a couple times. We actually did that drive, by the way. We went one year when my daughter was 3, and we were going to do Savannah, but I got an email from Disney and they said that I could go stay at Pop Century for $85 a night. So we scrapped Savannah and drove down and took our daughter to meet Mickey. So
that's how it happens.
And honestly, dude, it's like, I'm surprised at that point that it didn't just snowball, but life, how it goes. Yeah. But yeah, man, no, that's great. So we've been talking a lot about Disney. Where did your Disney love come from?
I don't remember a time in my life before Disney. And I don't know if that's things for people around my age. If you went to family members' houses, they had all the movies in the big VHS cases.
Right.
Big coloring books. My parents took me on our first trip. I was 5. It was August, I think, of 1988.
Wow.
Yeah, nice. I'm dead, really. And we went back almost I think we did every other year and then it got to a point where when I got old enough, I'm like, well, I'm old enough. Like, so I started vacationing with a friend or something. We came down to Disney. I don't know what it was. I always loved it. It makes perfect sense. I live here and work there when I
Mhm.
when I think about it. But that was it. I don't remember a time without it.
That's fantastic. Family's a huge Disney family as well. Like,
They are. I'm the biggest one,
right.
but they're all there now. My because like I said, they all my sister moved down here with her family, and my parents live. We all live within a mile now, and they all have their annual passes.
Right.
And they're
That's
going
crazy.
to Epcot for the concerts, depending on who's in, just to walk around on a night. Or my sister takes her kids to Animal Kingdom on a Saturday morning. It's like that's it. It's part of the way you would walk around your local park, and
Yeah.
like that's what. Like I said, me and Allie went to Universal. We went on a new Minion ride yesterday, but we just walked around. We could have went on other stuff. There wasn't long lines, but it's our
Right.
place to hang out. We grab a
Right.
drink. That's what we do.
That's awesome. That is awesome. College program.
College program.
Okay. During MGM.
Mm-hmm.
The correct name for that park, by the way. It's the only name.
I know. I like that. The mix. That mix of that.
Dude, it's crazy. That park has an identity crisis right now.
I know. People have said it. I know.
It's still pretending to be studios. It's not though.
Well, the reason that you built it, like it was a working studio, that was so beautiful about it. Like, and it's funny how times change. Things were so cheap to make in Florida back then.
Right.
So that's why Universal had a studio, and Disney. And I honestly hate that they changed the tax laws around that, because why wouldn't you still be creating here? Like those movie sets were real movie sets. I remember when Hulk Hogan was filming Thunder in Paradise one year. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Like it was on one of the studios. Like they were. I hate that. That was so cool, and I understand why they're not doing it. But yeah, now it's not really a studio. Now it's supposed to. I think they still say what it's supposed to represent: Hollywood, past and present, and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't do that. We're just putting it's IP. Here's Star Wars. Here's Toy Story.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, California Adventure is a good comparison. They
have a crisis too.
A lot of people say that. I've only been once, and it was during Oogie Boogie. So,
see now, don't get me wrong. I love the park. I have
fun
there.
Of course.
I took Allie for her first Disneyland trip. We went just the two of us December.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just there. I loved it. Mission Breakout was such a great redo of the Tower of Terror. Genius what they did. Like Cars Land is beautiful, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really represent different parts of California, which is what you made that was what the park was.
Exactly.
It did. Now it doesn't.
No. And Studios the same way. And honestly, Studios is my favorite park, but it's my favorite park because of Star Wars.
Because you're a Star Wars head.
I'm a Star Wars fan. I think that Galaxy's Edge needs a bit of a tweak. I think that their goal of making it the new trilogy kind of missed. It'd be great if they started breaking that hey, we have to be in this. We were just talking about this the other night. Be in this totally immersive silo of this is this, and we can't have Darth Vader and yada yada yada.
And that's what I mean. Like, how do you? It just seems so silly to me. Like, it's such a big franchise. And again, though, like I said, I think they shortchanged it, making two copies anyway. I don't know. Yeah, that's just me.
Yep. It would have been great to have one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. They would have had more of a destination on the West Coast. There has to be some logistics for it. Has to be a reason.
There is a reason. It's cheap. It's cheaper to make two copies. That's it. It's all mapped out. Here's the architect. Like if you've been to the one in Disneyland,
I've been to both. Yeah.
So it's a carbon copy. There's just where you exit for the Star Cruiser. Here is a walkway to, I think it's Frontierland there, but it's the same. It's almost freaky when you walk through. You're like, this looks way too familiar.
Yeah, I had no clue. I mean, we did Oga's on both coasts. I mean, it's Oga's. Yeah. And I get that. I mean, my original take is that Pandora should have been Kashyyyk or Endor.
You could have done that too. I mean, even that, I'm not a huge
You're not a Star Wars
Avatar
guy?
fan.
Oh yeah, I'm not either.
You know, I watched the new movie. I get the visuals are great. To build a whole land out of it there. I mean, it like I said, everything can't be for me. So if other people are enjoying it, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't really get it.
Yeah, I've been on record saying that Avatar does not have the following that several other potential IPs that could have gone in there.
If you even make it an IP, like see that's
it was made an IP just so they could get something from James Cameron. That's it.
But what I always thought was the best thing about Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, you created these lands that are kind of timeless,
right?
If they're done right.
Yep.
You can make a Tomorrowland, whatever you want. You can make a Frontierland. And it was actually, it's funny, you mentioned Islands of Adventure, because that was the first one I really pointed out where I'm like, you're going to base a whole thing on even Jurassic Park, which I mean, I know they've remade it a bunch of times, or like, you know, you have this whole land that's just Dr. Seuss. I'm not against it, but I would like something more general. I think it makes it easier to turn over attractions. Like I said, California Adventure it's not even just things in California. Like the Tower of Terror made sense. It was the Hollywood Tower Hotel in that point. Now it's Avengers Campus. Avengers Campus is in upstate New York.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's and I'm okay with it. It's just I never want to be overly nitpicky. You know, I don't want to be one of those people, but Disney's the one who set point this level of service and attractions. Like you made it. I hate that you're going backwards. Don't go backwards on it.
I like Pandora more than I like the movies. Right? Like I like hanging out in Avatar Land. The ride, Flight of Passage, is still probably a top 2 for me. Maybe top 3. I think Guardians is better. And obviously Rise is 1.
Flight of Passage isn't even my favorite ride in that park.
What's your favorite ride in the park?
You're gonna hate me for it because it needs a lot of work, but Dinosaur is my favorite ride in that park.
Really? Okay.
I've always loved that ride, and because I love Indiana Jones and Disneyland too, same technology.
Right.
I always thought that I can't believe that ride gets as much hate as it does because to have an actual ride with a track, first of all, which we don't get much anymore, and it moves in a different way that any other ride vehicle moves.
Yep,
I love it.
No, it's not a must do for us, but I'm a fan. Last time we went on it, I forgot how good it was. You know, it was. When
Universal remade the Ghostbusters area into Twister, which you probably missed all of this if you hadn't been there in forever, but I was hoping Twister was going to be a cheap ride, like them getting away from the storm, and it was going to be that type of thing. Like that would have been a freaking ride. Great.
Yeah. Did they just repurpose Back to the Future with a tornado now?
For Simpsons now. It's Back to the Future for Simpsons. And that one, I understand it too. I guess that ride system wasn't kept up with, but now Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time. So I would have loved to seen that there forever.
That ride was great.
I did the escape room. But go ahead.
Did you?
Yeah, no,
recently. Where was this?
So Universal built two escape rooms, a Jurassic Park one and a Back to the Future one. Okay. They're not classic escape rooms. You have to think of them as more walkthrough experiences, and they're going to push you through. But they make a lot of references to the ride.
That's awesome.
In the escape room. So me being a super geek, that's the type of stuff for me. It's very expensive. I can't justify the price. I think if you go in the not the peak hours, like the afternoon, maybe you can get a private thing up to 8 people for $300.
Whew.
But I mean
that's not
terrible. It's not terrible
for 8 people.
I think if you go more towards the peak hours, it creeps to $400.
Yeah, it's still only $50. How long's the experience? Not half an hour.
Maybe an hour.
Okay, well, that's not terrible. I mean, I know I've paid $26, $28 in like random places for escape rooms. So,
it depends on. Like I said, it depends on your, again, value.
Right.
What it's that whatever it is to everyone.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. So you said Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
Have not been. You excited for what's been announced so far?
Oh yeah. So that is my favorite event anywhere every year ever. I always buy a multi-day pass, one of their frequent fears, and you will find me there, especially because of the hours. I'll go after gigs. Like I'll get out of Boathouse at 11:30 and still run over there for 2 more hours.
Right.
Because it's open till 2 a.m. every night.
Right.
And to be able to go to the theme parks at that time of night, the weather's gorgeous. And the event is always different. The houses always change.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you're not getting the same thing. And if you don't, and I want to experience them as many times as I can, because that's it. Then they're gone. It's going to be a new set of things. So there is a magic in that event that like no other. I just got to just go. Like I tell people, just go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll never talk the wife into it. She is not a fan of horror in any capacity. So
I've gotten there as I've gotten older. And I guess, I mean, that me and Allie just love it. If we've gotten into our own niches as a couple of like, we just love it. And it's just, like I said, that's the best version of us. You go during horror nights. That's
awesome.
I'm happy.
That's fantastic. So how many are left to be announced?
Officially, I want to say, I feel like 7.
Okay.
Like there's 7 other houses they haven't, but I mean, you live down here. I've heard enough of the spec information. I think we know what everything is. But they already said the big ones: Chucky, Last of Us, and Stranger Things. Those are going to be your IP.
Yeah, and
everything else is not. No, okay. I just think everything else is like their own,
just whatever houses. Yeah,
whatever houses.
Okay. Yeah, cool. What 2 of the 3 are new, right? Chucky and Last of Us, or was Chucky old as well?
Chucky they announced at the end of last season.
Okay.
And then Last of Us and Stranger Things got announced recently.
Right.
Which is going to be good. And I think it would shock me if they don't have a Blumhouse house. They usually have one of those. They had Insidious and Megan. I think they'll have one of those.
Cool.
If not both.
Have you seen Last of Us? Did you watch the series?
Yeah, I didn't play the game, but I watched the whole series.
Yeah. I got 3 episodes left.
Oh, you're gonna love my 11-year-old loves it. He flew through it.
Yeah, it was. I watched it as they were coming out, and then I forget what happened. But I didn't catch the last 3. I don't know. I got to finish Jack Ryan.
You didn't catch the last of The Last of Us.
I didn't catch the last of The Last of Us.
I haven't done Jack Ryan yet. I got to do that.
So
I know,
good, man.
There's so much stuff. We're on right now. We're doing Black Mirror for serious stuff, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine for our funny show. Like, you know what I mean? That's
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I got to watch because I've never watched it. I've heard so many good things about it.
We hadn't. We finished Modern Family. We needed a new sitcom comedy show, and we popped that on, and I've been laughing my butt off ever since.
That's
great.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Universal is one of those things that I'm going to need guidance with whenever we go. You know, well, I got Disney down pat, dude. But
I'll listen when you know you're doing a Universal thing, you let me know. I'll tell you. I love it.
I will, man. You mentioned Cosmic Rewind. Your favorite ride now? Yes.
Yeah. I can't see anything really beating that. And I was a big Splash Mountain fan. That was always a big one for me. But Cosmic Rewind, man, there's this euphoric feeling from that ride that I can't explain again unless you go on it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
There's something about the way it moves. You feel a little weightless, and then you give me some rock and roll music. I'm happy.
It's crazy. Have you gotten all 7 songs?
6, yes.
6, all 6, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got lucky. I got them all pretty quick.
That's cool. We rode it twice last summer. Got September both times.
You probably
got a good one. Yeah.
The best one.
Yeah.
I like September. I like Disco Inferno on there.
Yes.
Honestly, they're all pretty good. None of them are awful.
Well, if Disney does one thing well, it's music to whatever. Be it movies, rides, always done music well.
Although
what?
I was never more disappointed than in their Christmas song for Cosmic Rewind.
Really? What was it?
It was a song. It was like a version of Run Run Rudolph.
Okay.
That they were saying Run Run Rocket, but it wasn't even in like the song form. Like a big part of that ride is that you can also sing along if you want. There's songs you know. This is like their own. Like I wish they would have asked me to do it. Like it was. I just did not. It was such a cheap, weird thing. It wasn't really rock and rollish. It did not fit with that ride. I mean, I'm being so vocal about it because I was that disappointed.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of the ride is that it's what, 80s music?
Pretty much.
70s and 80s?
Or even that, like, give me real Run Rudolph if you want to Christmas overlay it, like something, like give me. But I don't know. That's just like you took the best ride and put this crappy song over it.
And it was every ride, wasn't it?
Every ride was the same song.
Yeah.
Every ride.
Yeah. Is there any truth to the rumor that you can tell what song you're getting by looking at the back of the seat in front of you?
Actually, I disproved that rumor recently. Yes, whatever they said was September or something else. Like you look at it, it was different than what the marking was versus what the song was. So I don't think that's true at all.
I don't think it's true at all either. No. I've heard it both ways. I've heard people swear both ways. I needed the official.
On Rock and Roller Coaster, for example, each car, from what I understand, maybe somebody in the chat will correct me, but I think this is pretty much right. Each car plays one song. You don't know what song, but like in Rock and Roller Coaster, every car, that's the song you get.
Right.
So if a car went down, you lost that song. You know what I mean? Because I've heard Cosmic Rewind is not like that, probably because they got more sophisticated. So I think it is just, I think they do still rotate them, but I don't think there's a rhyme and reason to the cars.
Yes. If any artist could be in Rock and Roller Coaster now, who would you want it to be?
Ooh, this is a rough one for me because I don't like a lot of newer music. One, I will say, and I know other people have said this, I would be okay with the Powerline overdub if they did that.
Really?
From a Goofy movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think it fits the theme. They're going to the concert.
Yep,
so you can make a glad thing. Max and Goofy are going. You play Eye to Eye, Stand Out. Hell, you can give me a couple of new Tevin Campbell songs. I'll probably be on board if you want to write something.
Right.
Aside from that, I don't think any of these would happen. I would be okay with like a Green Day or I would love something more rockin' like that. But I think that's just me. I don't think that would. I don't want please don't put like Jonas Brothers or Taylor Swift. Like, please don't do anything like that to me. I can't.
I don't think they could, because then it's not Rock and Roller Coaster. It's 2010s Feels Roller Coaster, and I don't think anyone wants to go on that one.
I'll give you a hot take, which I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
You could put any Muppets in there for me. Dr. Teeth could rock out any song, and I would go on it.
That's the other one that fits.
I would go Muppets all day. Yeah, a Muppet anything for me. I would love when another thing, if you haven't seen it, by the way, the Electric Mayhem show on Disney Plus is probably the best thing they made for Disney Plus.
Really?
I could not believe how fast I flew through it. I don't know if it's because I'm a musician,
right?
But the music that they wrote for it, I think Michael Giacchino's son did the music. Oh my God. It was what awesome. A talented family. The music's great. It pulls on the heartstrings. I wish for the summer that they would have put some type of Electric Mayhem show like they did Frozen one year. I wish they would have done that. I would have done it. I would have been like, they always have like one real actor. I would have loved to play with the Electric Mayhem all summer at studios. Like I would, if anybody's listening, like let's do that show. That people will watch that show.
That's awesome. It'd be so. The overlay that it's gonna get is Monsters Inc., right?
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard that.
That's the scuttlebutt. The scuttlebutt is that they're gonna take that backside of the park behind Hollywood and just extend Pixar the whole way down,
all the way
Sunset
Boulevard.
Not on Sunset Boulevard, behind Sunset Boulevard.
So right now behind Sunset, though, I think it's just parking and some walkways.
It's not much, yeah.
So they're gonna. Yes, I know that backstage.
Allegedly,
I know that backstage in my mind a little well.
You would know it a lot more than me. So
from working there, I don't know what you're gonna. I don't know what you're gonna theme to Monsters to make the ride fit.
I don't know. They did it. They did Incredicoaster pretty.
They did. And I'll tell you something else, though. At least there. Even this doesn't fit though, because they have a Monsters ride somewhere else. I would say if you make Pixar Pier, keep all your Pixar stuff there. Now,
Right.
you got the laugh floor for me in Magic Kingdom. Why are you putting so many different IPs?
Right.
Why are you spreading them out? I don't know.
Well, because they want you to go everywhere. I mean,
no, I know
yeah,
that, but keep the same thing in the same place.
Well, the thing, if you did that, then you'd have to move it all to Epcot because you can't move the Seas with Nemo and Friends anywhere.
Well, true. I mean, at least with that, I mean, and I understand that. I mean, there's different. Yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe I'm just getting nitpicky.
No, you are. As Disney fans, we can blue sky anything that we want. I mean, we just got told by Josh D'Amaro that blue skying is the way to do it because they can't even put together a plan at D23 last September to tell anyone about Disney World. We just have to focus on land.
Yeah.
So, it's your event, kids. Let's go.
And I mean, like you see these companies get so big, there's a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you know, you can't always rely on, I hope the movies are doing good to make up for this, or I hope the parks are doing good to make up. There's a lot of moving parts, and you gotta really delegate properly and put good people in good positions, which is hard to do. Listen, I'll tell you, as somebody who owns a dual and piano business, I don't overextend ourselves. We don't take too many gigs. I would love to take more, because if our core players can't be on it, I can't guarantee the quality.
Right.
And that scares me. And you're seeing that on a big level with Disney. Like you see, like think of the Disney Plus shows. I think Andor had a $250,000 budget, or $250 million budget.
Right.
That's why that show is so good, compared to, you see the shows that now have lesser budgets, and but you can't throw that budget on everything. I get it, but where's the balance? Where does it go?
Yep, 100%. I mean, there's only so much parks money to go around, and when you have a ton of it put into Paris, Tokyo, Shanghai, and land, all moving into the next couple fiscal years. I mean, they've committed $17 billion to World, which is really interesting.
I mean, it's good. I hope and I hope it goes. You know, it's like you could ask 100 people, and we would all have different answers for where you want to see amounts of money go, and that's where it get. You know, it's and I understand that there's no good way to do it. You just hope it's a fun experience.
Yeah,
for all.
Animal Kingdom needs a lot of TLC. They need. Dino Land needs to not be Dino Land anymore. I just in general. I mean, the obvious scuttlebutt coming out of D23 was it's Zootopia / Moana. I don't think it needs to be Moana. I think it should just be Zootopia Land.
I think Zootopia could be great.
I think it'd be fantastic. For real.
I'm a little. I don't need more Moana. I'm not against Moana, but we're putting her everywhere. Like, who knows how far she'll go at this point?
You took the guts of the favorite part of my favorite park when I was a kid and made it Moana. Like, we can leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, and again, I understand. Listen, I never want to be the old guy who just wants to pass. Like, I get it. I get it. Things have to change, and I don't want to speak until I see. Like, I'm curious what the whole Way of Water is gonna look like. I'm curious. Let's hope it's something that is, especially when it's closed this long. The longer you leave something closed, the more it has to impress, which is what the problem was kind of with Tron.
Yep, makes sense. I too, I'm super interested to see what it looks like. It took a part of Epcot that I didn't think that they would ever push that way. Right. Yeah. Like I always thought that they would kind of keep it Future World Showcase. It's obviously no longer that.
But it wasn't getting nobody was really hanging out in those places.
I know.
I know. And the whole nature of the parks changed. Like, I remember when I used to go to the Food and Wine Festival, and I didn't walk around the showcase. I was there for the seminars and stuff like that.
Right.
And now we've now it's just I don't want to say it's a money grab, but it is. Like, you're expecting, if you're going to eat modestly, you're going to spend probably minimum $50 a person walking around the showcase 100%. Eating.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and that's what it's about now.
Yep. Yeah, it's Food and Wine's the only festival I've been to. Been to it a few times now. And we just had a conversation about it being probably the least favorite of anyone's festival at this point.
And it was my favorite.
Right.
And now Festival of the Arts is my favorite. But it's funny because they've also done this thing now where they've just extended it, that there's always a festival, basically.
Right.
Because you have to be, and don't get me wrong, I know, let's be honest, it has to be because of money. Like they used to start this festival in the quiet season to get people to come. Yeah. Now you realize that people spend money, so now we have it going into, it starts in July, which is way too hot to walk around and eat anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But now you're grabbing, especially the Northeasterners that went back to school and stuff. They're going and doing it. So I mean, but it takes away what was special about it.
Yeah. And the thing is that I was in 2019 was the first time I was there because it opened the same day as Galaxy's Edge. I went down for the Galaxy's Edge opening, so I got to experience it.
Was that it was August 2019? It
was August 2019.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, and it wasn't early August, so it was late August into September because then that hurricane came, and it never hit. But we had to get out so we could get home in time. Is
that when it closed? Is that when they closed or they didn't close?
I don't think they closed it.
Okay.
It might have closed for a day, but I don't think they closed it.
Yeah, for some reason, I remember our cast previews for Galaxy's Edge was very early August. So I knew it opened the end of August with no Rise of the Resistance because that didn't open until December.
Didn't open until December. So, so we had like one day of that. So then we came back November, right at the end of COVID in 21.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, but it was like the last weekend of it in November, and it was packed, absolutely packed. It was insane because it was the last weekend.
Yeah.
And then I was like all super excited because it was going to be opening while we were down in our July trip, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. They didn't open everything. It's not exactly. It doesn't feel very festival-y. Yeah. Every time we went to Epcot, it was like, hey, these food booths are here, and they've been here a lot, so cool.
Well, and that's basically it. I mean, you get the food booths and you get whatever the band or the music is. But that was the thing. Like when I was that 2005 to 2009-ish, like I would go to sit there. I learned so much about different wines in different regions. And at this point, the seminars were free. They ended up charging people for the seminars, and that's what did
the seminars in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they forgot that it's called Food and Wine, so they should actually put some wine out.
Yeah, now they used to have in the Wonders of Life Pavilion a big place for you to buy the alcohol that they were talking about. There was this wine from Germany that I probably wouldn't even like anymore. It's called a Dornfelder, and I bought like a bunch of bottles because it was the only place you could get it.
Yeah,
I don't know. But again, it's a different feel. And even for me, being in the Wonders of Life Pavilion brings back its own memories because I love Cranium Command and Body Wars and those mini bikes that you had to pedal. It was the making of me with Martin Short. I love all that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that one going down early. That one just hurt. It really did. I loved Body War the Pavilion of Life, whatever it was. Yeah.
Wonders of Life.
Wonders of Life. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. It's been so long, darn it. But yeah, Body Wars. I remember Body Wars a lot. And now that's going to be the Play Pavilion, and we haven't heard much about it. And it should be up and running. So
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I almost try to not pay attention to when things are supposed to open.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw, it's probably up there somewhere. After D23, you want to talk about another good video that didn't go anywhere?
Yeah.
I made a We Didn't Start the Fire song. I parodied We Didn't Start the Fire. All the announcements in D23.
I remember that.
It was really good. But my favorite part was I wrote the chorus was they make announcements about announcements. That's the whole point. They just keep announcing, and then how many of those things get delayed or don't come to fruition or whatever happens. But it's but that's the world we live in. We sell people on hype. Guess what's coming? Guess what's gonna be coming? How about we just enjoy what's out? How about we do that?
100%. It's a lot of people look forward to the next new best thing. I get that. So, but
It's a sad way to always live. It's good to look forward to stuff, but if you're, again, I'm gonna give it. Here's a secret to life. I used to be a destination person, not a journey person.
Right.
Which do you enjoy more? Spoiler alert, in case you didn't figure it out yet. Enjoy the journey. Most of it's the journey. If you're just waiting to get places, you're always going to be waiting for something instead of enjoying what you're doing.
That is absolutely true. I'm in the process of struggling to get there.
Yeah,
I've always been a destination guy.
It's a battle every day.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's fun. It's fun stuff for sure. Favorite Disney park is what?
Disneyland.
Okay. Favorite East Coast park.
Favorite East Coast park. It changes on me, but especially since I play piano there occasionally, I have to say Epcot now.
Right.
Traditionally, it's so funny how it's changed over the years because I was always a Magic Kingdom traditionalist because it was just so much more Disney heritage.
Right.
And then I'm a big fan of studios because I love Coaster. I love Tower. I love that I worked the backlot tour there.
Right.
But as I'm getting older now, I mean, Epcot's where I end up. And once you threw Cosmic Rewind in there, that really solidified it. I can go see some of my favorite musicians. I can go see Guardians, and they let me play piano in England, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. How's that? Good times.
It's good it's great. I don't do it too often. I just fill in, which is fine because I'm busy doing so much other stuff. But for me, again, it's just that's a happiness thing. It's not even really about the paycheck or the perks. It's like 12-year-old me knowing I'm like you're gonna tell me that me at this age is gonna be playing piano at Epcot. It's magical.
That's
you got to enjoy the same piano that Carol Stein played. Like I used to watch Carol Stein in the Comedy Warehouse as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And now it's like, I talk to like Carol. That blows my mind still. Like I know Yeehaw Bob. Like I know these people. Yeah. I don't even want to call them peers because I will never like they're idols, and you're in those circles. What's better than that? What else could I want?
But yeah, I'm with you. Bob's crazy.
He is,
crazy
but he's
crazy.
He's so
yeah.
Oh yeah, he's so good. He's so funny. He's so nice, it's just I don't know. They're just class acts. They're staples of why. Let's be honest. We say this. The cast members is why you really go at the end of the day, and I always hope that you keep the cast members treated well enough so you want them to want to be there. Like that's the magic.
Right. 100%, man. 100%. All right. Favorite beer at Rose and Crown because you work there.
Oh, favorite. I'm usually just a Guinness person. It's nothing too crazy, but yeah, I mean, get the Guinness and go. I've had some good Irish car bombs or whatever name they're allowed to go by now. I don't know anymore. At Rose and Crown, those are always nice.
Yeah, right. I do the I think it's called the Bee Sting. I don't know, whatever the Boddington's Guinness.
Yes.
Combo. I think it's that. I forget what it's called officially, but that's my go-to. There's Scotch eggs there are out of this world, dude.
Yes, the Scotch eggs. If you've never had them, and you know what's funny, I haven't checked in a while because I know the menu's less since the pandemic.
Right.
And I want to make sure the Scotch egg's still on it.
Oh, they're still on there.
It is.
They were
okay,
last
good.
summer at least. So it's one of the two things you can get at the bar.
They used to change that menu seasonally, and I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to. Like they used to give you a lot more options. This is another topic, but like this was the downside for me of the dining plan is that you had more options on the menus before the dining plan, then everything becomes prefixed with a dining plan.
Yeah, it's back in the day we were dining plan fans. Like we did deluxe dining plan twice. The first time was
great.
Fantastic. Second time, it was like we were running to food every single day, all day long.
Because you want your money's worth at that point. You feel like you see it, so I should get it.
I think I also booked like 8 character dining experiences. My daughter
might be
was
overkill.
Like 7. She was 7. We had to go do everything.
That's a lot, though. Did she like everyone, or towards the end was she like, Dad, I don't want to meet anymore?
Yeah, basically. I mean, it was kind of Yeah. By the end, I was like, oh, I don't think we can make dinner. I don't need any more food. We already paid for it though. But
and I always tell people, if you're gonna have all your meals on property and you usually like to eat more expensive stuff, by the dining plans, do it. You're gonna save money and you're gonna get the most bang for your buck.
Yep. The thing that threw the wrench in that for me is I'd rather go eat at a lounge whenever I want to eat.
Okay.
We've done a lot of lounges. That's what I mean. Rose and Crown is one of them that, frankly, until last summer, I didn't realize that you could just walk in and get a couple things off the menu. I had never really thought about it for food. It was always a spot to just grab something. And we needed some AC. So I was like, well, let's go in here and grab a drink. And then we ended up getting fish and chips and a couple Scotch eggs. And
which are phenomenal too. The fish and chips they're great.
Yeah.
And they got a great band out there too now. They got this band. They call them Command Performance, but locally they're known as the Hooligans. They have the contract where the British invasion and revolution used to be. They're great. Great music.
Is it the same as the M80s?
Actually, yes, it is. It's most of the members. They have a couple of crossovers. Yeah, it's fun. It's funny when you get down here and you start meeting the other local musicians. Like there's a cool, I know a lot of people probably know him, but Mark Daniel, he works over at Studios Indiana Jones and the workshop in Star Wars. Like he told me once, he goes, Orlando's like the last vaudeville where you have all these people with different entertainment skills.
Yeah.
That you can, and ever since he said that to me, I can't not think of it. And it's kind of cool because you go to New York or something, it's just oversaturated and so businessy and this union and that union and trying to get into this. And Orlando's like this place where you still can pull a couple of people to do different creative things. And and I always love being involved in that type of stuff. It's just
pretty cool. That's really cool. And there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent in Orlando. It's crazy. Even when you look at like Streetmosphere, right? I mean, that's a whole.
Yes,
me too, man.
That's the stuff I miss. That's the stuff you can't. I mean, you can put a price tag on, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like that's what made it. I miss that so much.
Yeah. Dude, it's Studios. It was just, and that was pre-COVID, if I recall correctly. That's what since, have they?
They did away with it. They did away with it after that. I also miss, like, for Studios, by the way, down here, Hollywood Studios is decorated the best for Christmas than any Orlando theme park, even now. And I still miss, though, the spectacle of lights. I do miss that New York street, and I miss that. But I will say they still decorate the best for the holidays.
Yeah, it was pretty solid last year. I mean, I even when you look at Echo Lake, like, just the fact that there's it has to be a 10-foot diameter bulb hanging out of the dinosaur's mouth. Like, it's massive.
Yes.
It's just
and the big tree in the water and everything. It's gorgeous over there.
Yeah. You looking forward to Jollywood Nights? Are you gonna partake maybe?
I don't know if I'm gonna go. I was actually I don't know which company got the contract for the jazz group in Brown Derby. I was trying to get in, but the company that I had tried out with, I know, didn't get the contract. But I think it's going to be a great event. I don't like how short these special events are. I think they need to be longer. There's not enough time to get to anything. I think it's a high ticket price. I don't know if I'm going to go myself.
Right.
If I need to go for a different job thing, maybe that'll help, and it's something else. But I don't think I'm going to go, even though I think it's the best hard ticket event they've made in years and years. I will say that.
Right. I'm really interested in what they do with Brown Derby.
It's supposed to be like a jazz club.
Yeah.
So I think if they put a good band in there, it's going to. But again, how much time are you going to spend in any one place?
It's kind of what I'm saying. I'm a little. I think that in and of itself as a hard ticket event is like putting a jazz something together would be fantastic. But like you said, are you going to spend $159 and hang out at a jazz club for more than 20 minutes?
But that's probably all they're expecting, because think of how many
right.
tickets they're going to sell, and that's another part about doing anything at Disney. Like, you're just a small piece of a bigger picture all the time, of a
Right.
much bigger picture.
Yeah.
But it's a cool. Like I said, they're bringing some cool. They listen to the fans, I feel,
Right.
and they're bringing directly Muppets, Goofy movie. They're bringing things directly that fans have said, we like this stuff. This is our favorite stuff.
I'm really hoping, really hoping that between the Muppets at Food and Wine this year, that it gets some traction.
I hope so.
It's something that I've always been a fan of, and it doesn't get the love it deserves.
You want to go for ticketed events that you get bang for your buck. This is where I'll go back now for Horror Nights.
Right.
Horror Nights opens and starts at 7 p.m. till 2 a.m. Actually, I think it's 6:30 till 2 a.m.
Right.
every night. And if you have an annual pass or want to pay a little more for the stay and scream, you'll start at 5:30 if you're already in the park.
It's crazy.
That's a lot of hours for an event. Like I would love to see these events. They got to be at least 5, which they haven't really done 5 hours in a while. If not up to 8 hours. Like, you're charging so much for the ticket. I want to stay there.
Right. So if you did Halloween Horror Nights, you did it one night. Can you get everything in or not? If you stayed till 2.
If you stay till 2, I would say almost any night without express pass. Yes.
Okay.
Because you usually can do a lot in the first hour, and you could usually do a lot in the last hour, and then the middle gets weird.
Right. I was going to say, are you spending the whole time in line if you don't do express pass?
Not the whole time. It really depends on how you want to do it, especially if you're going. I'm not a Saturday night guy because I'm usually working. That's another thing. So we'll go Sunday night, Wednesday night. People aren't staying out till 2 a.m.
Right.
I'll be the weird guy very happily out till the park closes doing everything.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And, it's one of those where if you're coming down on vacation at that time, who cares? Right? You're on vacation. It's easy to say I'm staying.
But you need a break too. You know what I mean? Like, if you stayed out that late, you're probably sleeping in the next day. You got to make it up. That's like, there was one day when I told you we went to Disneyland. There was one day we went back to the room at like 7 because we were tired. We're like, we're just gonna take a quick nap and go back. We slept till 8 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, right.
We couldn't move. We just got to that point. Like, and I think that's what people see. You see how much money you're spending, like you said, with the food too. You want to eat everything. You want to see everything. It's like, you got to sleep to enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah.
And that's why this Hilton Head vacation was so nice for me.
Oh, exactly.
Because we took the time for the kids to nap. There were times like, you just want to chill in the room. Like this way, everybody's in a good mood. It's so much more relaxing that way.
Right. It's kind of like the tip that I like to gatekeep, but I shouldn't gatekeep, so I don't gatekeep it. It's the get an Oga's reservation at 9:35
at night, so you can stay. Yes.
So you stay and walk out, and it's some of the best pictures you'll ever take. Even though you are being like shooed, if you stop and take a couple, they're not going to be mad.
No.
But again, you definitely get your time and experience worth it. But we do that, and then the next day is like brunch.
Yes.
At 12:30. So we sleep in and, take it easy and chill. And that's...
It's still got to be a vacation. If it becomes like, I have to be here, then it's just a schedule at that, at that point.
Yeah. Well, I have Excel spreadsheets that are laminated when I go, so we're not going to talk about that.
Fun. I've had the people that do that. I mean, like, I've become more mellow because I'm like you. I'm from the Northeast. I'm used to everything's got to be in order. And I've just become the last... Like I said, 18 years have slowly, slow grind.
Just chink, 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 chink. Yeah. No, and that's, we've kind of done that as well. I mean, maybe it's an age thing. Maybe it's kids getting older. Maybe it's not hey, we have to do all of these experiences while they're young and whatever. And now it's kind of to a point where we put in at least 2 just chill days. Right.
You have to. And the resorts are beautiful. Why wouldn't you want to spend time at the resort, at the pool?
Exactly.
The room, you're spending so much money for a room. Enjoy it. It's probably one of the nicest hotel rooms most people will ever stay in their entire life. Enjoy it.
You're exactly right, man. You're exactly right. Rob, man, this has been a good time, dude. Anything else you want to talk about? And we've been going for a hot minute here. So
not really. If you have me back, whenever, we'll talk about more nonsense.
Dude, 100%. All right. Listen, if you're not following Rob, go check him out on all of the things. Rob, I'm sorry, piano_Rob. I was going to have that backwards. And then Facebook is piano Rob with 2 B's, facebook.com with that. Appreciate you. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll see you next time.